who am I okay being with? Who do I kick out of my family because they're driving me bananas? And who do I like having in here? And from all signs, it seems like Cirie is a great person that people love to be around.
That's actually such a good point that I don't think alum talk about enough, because yes, you're playing a game against these people, against them, with them in some cases, if you're part of the same alliance, but they are your roommates. Mm-hmm. And part of the game and part of doing well on Big Brother is being a pleasant presence. Hey guys, welcome to the Secret Alliance podcast,
where we talk about the game of Big Brother with the people who play it. We're making our eviction prediction and what we think might happen next week.
Can you believe we're only, I think, 35 days in?
Yes, but Thursday night's live eviction show, day 37, if my math is correct. We have 3 evicted house guests. That's it. It was Kirsten, and then we had Riley, and then we had Hisam. Now, Luke is out of the game, but we are talking September 5th, and this is about the time seasons wrap up. I mean, Hannah, you were looking toward finale night by this point in your season.
Yeah, exactly 2 years ago. I think that was the week before I got evicted. So that was my last full week in the house with the rest of the cookout. That was when, we got all 6 of us to final 6. So I definitely look back on that week fondly. But yes, I remember thinking we're so close to the end, yet 2 years later, for season 25, we've only had 3 evicted house guests. We're not even a third of the way done with the season. And this season has already caused me so much stress with the constant flip-flopping and he said, she said, and alliances shifting. And it's just a very fluid dynamic. So I don't know how much more I can handle, to be quite honest. I don't know what BB25 has in store for us.
So day 50, and you're just like, I got to pull the plug. I got to stop watching.
Yeah, no. I'll never stop watching. I love Big Brother, but I tweeted something today, this season is about to give me hypertension. That is how stressed I am. It's about to make my blood pressure shoot all the way up.
I love that you use the medical term instead of saying this is giving me high blood pressure. Doctor, soon to be Dr. Chaddha. I like the ring on that. That sounds great.
Oh, thank you. I would hope so.
Yes. And, your insight of the game and just everything that we've seen from you in life, the way you played it, the way you analyze it. I mean, you're going to make a great physician, and I can't wait to see your career. I mean, even Hisam gave you lots of love about the career path that you're on.
He did, and I definitely plan on talking to him because he is a psychiatrist, and that's one of the specialties that I'm very much drawn toward. So I would love to get his perspective on that, and there's just a lot that I still have to learn. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Well, I mean, I hope that that's part of life, and we're all growing and learning. And once I heard it said, I think I've even said it once on the podcast now. I can't remember the quote. It's something on the lines of, I'm not young enough to think I know everything yet, or something on those lines. Because it's as you get older, you realize how little you know and you need to learn more. It's when you're young and you're like, I've got it all figured out.
Yeah. Oh, especially when you're a teenager.
Yes.
You have that to look forward to. Your kids
teens
are
in the house. Yes. No. Oh, yes. We are there. Okay. So let's get to the game, and we're going to start right off, dive into some spoilers. We may move back in the game because I do want to hear a little bit about that epic HOH that lasted nearly 14 hours. Yeah. And then it meant basically nothing. There was no power out of it because of a twist. So, okay, let's start where we are now, and we are going to spoil some things here. We've got the HOH in power. We have Jared running this house right now. How excited are you? Your face says not so much.
Okay, well, let's see. The HOH competition was that knockout style. I love those as a viewer because you really get to see okay, who's protecting who may be on the opposite side of the house as me, who wants me. out of the running to be HOH. I think if you pay attention, it can tell you a lot about the structure in the house. Anyway, Jared wasn't really getting picked until the very end, and neither was Cirie, and neither was Felicia. So if I were in that house, I'd be like, okay, those three are not only close, but they're running the show. So I thought that was interesting. Izzy ends up getting the last question wrong in that final round. Jared, by default, wins the HOH. It's not like he actively won it. He just didn't do anything to hurt his chances of winning it. So I was just thinking, it's basically going to be Cirie's HOH.
Yes.
Because Cirie's his mom, and everyone listens to Cirie around here. So I kind of figured it would be a matter of like Cameron and Red going up and, you know, let the chips fall where they may. But what did you think about a Jared HOH?
Well, I think it is good for Cirie's game. If you're a fan of her, this keeps her safe right now. It is good for Cirie. And I think Jared needs this because he is harder and harder to protect. In my opinion, because he's in the showmance with Blue. And I think that's put him in a place that he's HOH this week. But if he and Blue aren't on the block next week, I feel like I'll be shocked. I really do. I feel like Cameron is proving himself as a competitor and Red wants this. And I feel like one of those two might be our next HOH. It just depends on what the challenge is, but I feel like it's gonna happen that way. And then our nominees next week, and that's just flash forwarding it as a guess. You'd have Jared and Blue. Jared probably gets saved in some form or fashion by someone winning the veto, and then we see if Blue goes or not. But I do think if Cirie has the ability to take a shot and get Blue out of the game, I think it's something she'll take because. I mean, wouldn't you feel the same way that then not to pull Jared away from someone else, but you have him back in the game, his head's in the game. And I know it's good to have someone on the side. That was a very strategic move. I think we've seen this done before in the game of Big Brother where all the players in the alliance have someone else that they are working with. And it's brilliant. But I don't think that Jared is in game about that. He is, what comes of this after the show, the relationship, this love story that's blossomed and all of that. And I think it takes him out of the game. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. And he's playing it really well.
Well, do you feel like him winning HOH this week has helped his odds of staying off the block next to Blue? Do you feel like he's used this HOH week to his benefit, or is it solely benefiting Cirie?
I think it is better for Cirie's game than his own at this point in time, because the nominations here, Cam and Red. So that's a very obvious move. Cirie caught wind and others in the house, and they know there's a clear divide. And they understand what's happening with Red and Cameron. And so Izzy's in trouble in the line of fire. I think Cirie also recognizes this is bad for her. So these were obvious nominations. Now let's talk about this reason that I think Jared's in big trouble is because of what happened. Spoiler, with the veto. And that's big because Cameron, dun, 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 was able to save himself.
The veto, yeah. Oh, don't you love Big Brother? When it's good, it's good.
It's and this is that where the game is getting really exciting. It's good. And so Cam is down. He's now able to save himself. And then what needs to happen here? And I don't know that in that moment Jared even looked at his game with his replacement nominee. So what did you think about how this went down?
Yeah, really good point. So, spoiler alert, guys, Jag ends up going up as the replacement nominee. Jag, who was just saved. By Matt's power last week, he was evicted unanimously, 10-0, only for him to stay in the house, and now he's right back up there. Nothing has changed. So it very much feels like deja vu to me. Last week he was on the block next to one primary color. This week he's on the block next to another primary color. We have Blue and Red. the Matrix, red pill, blue pill. Anyway.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is.
They should have started
just
an
made our
alliance.
brains explode with the Matrix.
The
reference
Matrix,
there.
red pill, blue pill. Hello, missed opportunity.
I know.
But in terms of Jared putting up Jag, I just don't understand why. Jag to me strikes me as a very honest, loyal player, and I don't think Jag is necessarily looking at Jared. Now, Jag may be looking at Cirie. I know him and Blue had these very preliminary discussions where they were like, have you noticed that Cirie is the house? Anytime we refer to the house, it's her. Everyone trusts her. Everyone tells her anything. Or sorry, everyone tells her everything. So they had that moment amongst the two of them. But then that all went out the door the next day. And I don't think Jared even caught wind of that. So why would Jared put up Jag? Why not put up a Bowie, for example? Because that way you're guaranteed to get Red out of the house because no one's going to vote Bowie out of the house. And this way you're able to split up the duo that is Cameron and Red because, I mean, just last week they won back-to-back competitions. Cam's a strong competitor. Red's a strong competitor. They both have the grit. Cameron's also ex-military. So the fact that you wanted Cameron gone and now Cameron's staying in the house and you're potentially leaving Cameron's closest ally in the house to then go after your mom and Izzy and maybe even you because they have no allegiance. At this point, Cameron and Red, they're free agents. They know everyone's coming after them. So it's almost like open season. I would not want that level of unpredictability in the house. And instead, he wants to sacrifice Jag.
But what are you seeing from what's happening on the feeds? Is it really Jag that's his target, or does Jared look to Red and say this is going to be a good way for us to make sure Red goes out the door?
With this cast, they flip flop constantly. We saw it with Riley's HOH week. We saw it with with Riley's eviction, Heisem's eviction. Jag's eviction that turned into a null eviction. But
right. Oh yeah, there was tons of talk about getting rid of Blue. Cirie felt like it was a better option for her game, that this gets things back with Jared focusing on the game again and her and Jared working together closely. It's
no different this week. They're flip-flopping. Just this morning, they were locked in on sending Jag home. As of like an hour ago, they're reconsidering some things because, again, why would you leave Red in the house with Cameron? From Cirie's perspective and from Jared's perspective, get rid of one of them. And Cameron's not eligible this week. So the other one is sitting right there. But I don't know. I have a feeling that Jag could end up leaving.
And I know it feels really tricky to put in some predictions now because there are so many uncertainties. But Hannah, I do think at the end of the day, I think Cirie is going to crunch the numbers and she's going to tell her house, and I'm saying that her house, what would be best. And it is for her game. I think it is better if Red goes because I don't see Jag yet looking at her with the bullseye. But I also don't know, some conversations that she may have had, some intel she gets. I think at the end of the day, she realizes that if she lets Cameron keep his ally and these two are ride or die, the odds are in favor. They're greatly increasing their odds. Red and Cameron still in that house. It does mean that they've got a better chance of winning this next HOH. And that's why I think then Jared's in trouble. So I think she's going to have to really look at her game and Jared's in this decision.
I think Jag, exactly like you said, Jag he seems so lovely and he is my winner pick, but he's slightly aloof in terms of his reads on the house. And because of that, I don't think he is that imminent of a threat to Cirie right now, at least. If anything, keep Jag to diminish Cam's chances of winning HOH next week because Jag has proven himself. He's won one veto already. But like you said, this cannot be good for Jared's game if both Cameron and Red are left to stay. because then he and Blue will probably go on the block if one of them wins HOH. And then at that point, they might backdoor Izzy, they might backdoor Cirie, might backdoor Felicia. You just don't know. Those two are such loose cannons.
Yeah.
But they only need 6 votes this week. And Blue and Matt, I can imagine, want to keep Jag because Matt just used the power on Jag last week. Jag and Blue are tight. They have been since week 1. So if Cirie, Felicia, Izzy, and Mecole flip, then they might be able to keep Jag in the house without America, without Cory, without Bowie, without Cam.
Yeah. You brought up Mecole, and I want to analyze a little bit of her game because I was talking about this with my daughter. She said the other day as we were just talking about, she was like, "Oh, remember Mecole?" She was like, "Remember her in this game?" I was going, "Huh, yeah, that's right. We don't get a lot of airtime. Occasionally, we'll see her. She'll make a comment. She's in and out of a conversation, but she may be playing a really, really good game right now that we're not even following that much because she's liked by everybody seemingly, and she's on nobody's radar."
Yeah. No, she's doing a phenomenal job of being under the radar. I haven't heard anyone say her name in like the last 2 weeks. I think everyone feels okay with her. People find her funny and entertaining. To me, it doesn't seem like she talks a whole lot of game with people. And she kind of like keeps to herself. She might just be an introvert. But honestly, the less you talk, the less of an opportunity you have to screw yourself over in the game and reveal something that you shouldn't be revealing.
Yeah.
So I wonder if maybe when we hit jury, that strategy is going to pivot and we're going to see her crank it up a notch, or if she's just going to continue like lurking in the shadows while the game's going on around her. And then boom, she opens her eyes and all of a sudden they're at final 3. And we're like, oh, hey, Mimi.
Yeah. And then she's, I feel like she does have to make some moves to build a resume. And I don't mean that is being HOH or veto holder, but I think there will be some things that you have to say, I strategically did this, because I think Cirie could get into a final 2 chair up against some of these other players who have won competitions and had things. If she has no competition under her belt and just some of the stuff that she's pulled off in this short amount of time, by the time we get to Thursday's eviction, day 35 in the Big Brother house, I think she's got a pretty good resume, and she can say, I was the one who said, do this, that, the other, and I made sure that this happened. And Matt came to me about this special power, and we kept Jag, and we did. I mean, the resume is really being built from the not competition level, but from the that social game that you have to play inside the Big Brother house. And I mean, it's pretty impressive. I'm kind of sitting here going, there are like master Big Brother players who were taking notes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I think I was texting Claire the other day because her and I are pretty invested in this season, and we were like, we can't remember the last time a player had this strong of a social hold on the game. And Tiffany from my season is a legend, but I don't think her grip was even as firm as Cirie's. It might be like Derek Levasseur, maybe, but I also didn't watch feeds that season. I only saw the edited show, and he got a great, pristine edit that maybe wasn't indicative of the game he played. I don't know. But it's been a while since we've seen somebody like Cirie. And I don't know if it's because Cirie is that masterful. I don't know if part of it is because the house guests are just like starstruck by her. Maybe the house guests aren't that bright. Maybe it's a combination of everything. But I wonder if they are thinking to themselves, like, Cirie has to go. She is running things, but they're too scared to say anything. Or do they genuinely not understand that that's what's happening? I don't know.
It's a really good question, and one that I know a lot of us are thinking, where we go, they got to see that she is head of the household without winning the head of the household competition, and I think that point will click once we are in that mode of, okay, now we are the final house guest. Jury has begun. Everyone now who goes to that jury decides the game for us. And I think that's maybe where the switch does get flipped, where you start thinking about the end of that game.
I think so too. Right now, I think it's just a matter of like, who do I not want to compete against in comps?
And I think it's also, who do I enjoy having in this house at this point? Because it feels like such a long season. And I think the pace of this game is impacting a lot of that. I don't know what they're feeling in there, because it felt like the longest stretch for my game in season 3 was in the 50 something day range. And so for them, maybe it hasn't hit, but maybe it has, because they went, nobody left. This 1 week was 2 weeks of nothing really happening. And there were competitions and there were things, and the America's challenge that they went, and the 4 players found out that they were in it and they competed. And so maybe it doesn't feel that way, but I do wonder if that's the case. So then you go, I'm stuck in this place and it feels never ending. Who am I okay being with? Who do I kick out of my family because they're driving me bananas? And who do I like having in here? And from all signs, it seems like Cirie is a great person that people love to be around.
That's actually such a good point that I don't think alum talk about enough, because yes, you're playing a game against these people, against them, with them in some cases, if you're part of the same alliance, but they are your roommates. Mm-hmm. And part of the game and part of doing well on Big Brother is being a pleasant presence in the house. And yeah, that's something that I haven't even thought about, but I do think that when jury hits and they start thinking about jury management and who they want to sit next to at the end to maximize their odds of winning the game, that is when people will maybe start focusing in on Cirie just a bit more. And hey, if Jared and Blue go up next week and they're the final nominees and Blue has to throw Jared under the bus and be like, by the way, guys, he told me that Cirie is his mom. Yeah. That might not bode well for her. No. So I don't know, but I just still cannot believe that we are only a third of the way done. We're still in the pre-jury phase of the game. Week 4 has lasted 2 weeks now, and it's already September.
What? Yeah, we're going to November with this thing. I think I read that the finale was that right there at the beginning of November, if not the very end of October. I can't remember the date exactly.
November 9th.
The 9th? Okay, Hannah. Feels overwhelming. It feels daunting. And the house guests don't really know. They know how many people are still left. They sort of have an idea. And I don't know if with your season you were told to clear your calendar for however long.
We weren't in the fine print, but I did, call them and I was like, okay, listen, if our season ends early enough, then I can still enroll in next semester. So can you just let me know? But Julie actually did tell them this season that it's going to be 100 days. Okay. So they know that. I couldn't remember from all of these times, because there are things we know about from watching the show that they don't know at all. Speaking of what time here, now on your season, did you get to have a clock, something? Was a microwave clock something you could set? Did you have time in your house? Yes, we had the clock on the little coffee pot. We had the clock on the oven and the clock on the microwave. What about you guys?
No, we had a microwave. No, we had a microwave. And so one like Thursday night, we had the brilliant idea. We were like, okay, they kind of give you the get ready, the live show's about to begin. So we knew it was roughly 6 o'clock, because it was 9 o'clock on the East Coast. And so we're like 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, let's set the clock. And we might be off. Maybe it's an early one and we're off by an hour or half hour or something. I don't know. But Hannah, the next day they set up for a competition, had us like sequestered in a bedroom or something, and they unplugged it and they left it unplugged. And then every time we would set it, they would like have some sort of like, it might last for a day or two, but the next time they were in the house for a lockdown, they would unplug it. So we had no clocks. It was maddening. And I remember we were sitting in the backyard, we were chatting and talking. We were like, what time do you think it is? I don't know, maybe like 2, 3 in the morning. And the sun came up and we were like, guys, it's like 6 or something in the morning, and it really messes with you.
Yeah. Oh, I can only imagine, because you don't know when one day ends, one day starts.
I mean, we were making like sundials out in the backyard with things. We're like, look at the shadow, and we think that it's noon now.
How many days did you guys have access to the backyard?
A good bit of the season. Our competitions were not as elaborate. We did not have as huge a production, so that worked in our favor that we had more access to the backyard. Seeing some of the challenges, even this far, I know that the competitions really do. They really do take the house guest out of the backyard, and you're locked down in the house. And they did a few competitions for us inside, where we would be like sequestered in a bedroom, and they might be able to bring a prop into a living room or something.
Well, actually, with this season, I don't think they're doing all of their competitions in the backyard. They're doing them in this like space kind of off to the side of Soundstage 18. So they have slightly more backyard access than they did in season 24 and season 23. I don't know about All Stars, but for us, we got max 3 days outside.
But you know what they've got now is, in the midst of this writers and actors strike, they have sound stages that are probably sitting empty right now that they can use. And so they go, okay, well, we're setting up on the sound stage next to you, and the house guests walk through a tunnel or a pathway. I hadn't even given that any thought, and I don't know this to be fact. I'm just guessing now. And that is another reason that this season's 100 days. And that's why it goes until November. And we get into that all important November ratings period where advertising dollar amounts are set for the network, for a next set of time. So it is an important time, and I get why they're running the season till there. But the pace is, it feels unending and never ending, or whatever the word is. And I really do feel for these house guests, especially with the chaos that happens day in and day out. The frenetic pace that then it all goes back to, and in most cases, where we began.
Yeah. Yes. That's what we've seen so far. They'll be flip-flopping all week. They'll ultimately decide to do what they originally intended to do. But for this week, I don't know.
I'm still putting my guess in Red going home. And I think we'll be talking to him after Thursday night's show, and I'm starting even to put some questions together.
Okay. You're manifesting that Red gets evicted on his birthday.
But I mean, I really don't know, because anything could change. I just think that Jag is a better player for Jared to have. I think for Blue, I think she's going to be in Jared's ear and say, keep Jag, keep Jag, keep Jag. He's good for my game. He's good for your game. So I think those things start working toward the HOH making that kind of a decision. And I do think that Jared can say to his mom, please, this is what I want. These are my wishes. This is part of my game. And I've done some game moves for you. Help me. Help me now.
Was actually one of the people who encouraged Jared to put Jag on the block as a pawn.
Okay. So maybe he really is a pawn, but
no, I don't think so. As of when that happened, they were all like, Jag needs to go. So we're going to tell him he's a pawn, but we're actually sending him out the door. We don't trust him. He's probably plotting against us. It's the paranoia getting to them. And Blue was like, oh, he's a pawn? Yeah, that's fine. We have the votes to keep him. So these people just are not that brilliant.
Yeah, I don't know sometimes what's happening in there, even if you watch the feeds. And I think one of the things that's always tricky is I don't know when people are having a conversation and telling the other person in the room what that person needs to hear. So until we see an episode in a diary room to explain it, sometimes I don't know if that conversation is that person didn't have any clue, or that person needed to make the other person in the room think they didn't have a clue. So as a live feeder, sometimes you don't even know if the conversation you heard is really what person one and person two actually mean and or know in this game, because they're still playing it. And unfortunately, we're getting played too as viewers.
Absolutely. Unless you see a cam talk or unless you see them in the DR, you don't actually know what these house guests are thinking, what they know, how they're operating, why they're operating that way. So,
and I do appreciate those those moments where somebody, let's say they go out of the HOH room and then they wander to the bathroom downstairs and then they're like, hey, America, that whole conversation meant nothing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love a good Cam talk.
I need some of those. This season, have you had anything that you've enjoyed? Is there anybody that's kind of given some fun stuff for the live feeders that you go, oh, you know what? This was a pleasant surprise to catch the other day.
Yes. Okay. Well, Felicia's hilarious. All her facial expressions, just her mannerisms, everything about her is so funny. Let's see what else.
Well, and they use her on the episodes while you're thinking the next thing through. If there's anything, but they love her on the episodes more as the reaction shot than her talking. So it's usually you see the other person while she's talking, and then when they're talking, cut to Felicia with her.
Yeah, she's always like.
Her reactions are great.
Yes.
But I feel like for someone who really does like what that thought that's happening in here, like she puts it out on her face. Nobody seems to get that like it seems transparent sometimes watching like what she's thinking, but not all the house guests are getting it. I mean, I think Cirie is reading everything she's saying. Yeah. But some of the others, I'm like, wait, did you see the face she made? Like, exactly what she's thinking about what you said.
Again, not the most perceptive bunch, but I am loving Cory, not as a showman, because the
showmance that now has grown on you. Okay.
No, not as a showmance. I love them as a flirtmance because that's all it is right now.
Okay.
I enjoy the fact that they're both young and they're super fans, and they seem to be the only ones who are looking at this game and not just blindly following whatever Cirie tells them to do. Like they have an analytical bone or two in their body. So the fact that they're tightly aligned and they're kind of at the bottom and they need each other in this game, I love watching duos like that. And then on top of that, like they're a cute little flirtmance and it's endearing. But as long as they don't become a showmance. Okay.
But of the two, because for the flirtmance, there has to be someone who is interested in it becoming more. Who wants this to become more, in your opinion?
I actually don't really. I don't think either of them, to be honest. Really? I think they're having fun. I think they have great chemistry in the game. But if they weren't playing this game together, I don't know if those two would have found each other.
No, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Yeah. They wouldn't have, could have passed on the street and had some meet cute like you do in a movie, and and they get to know each other a little bit, and then they're like, okay, great, and then they go their separate ways.
Yeah,
but I mean, this is life. You never know what puts two people together, and this could be that. And then there are little what did you call their duo? What's the
Cory.
Cory babies. No, it's not French here.
What do you think? Oh, Rachel would be so mad. No. I had the first big brother baby.
Yeah. I think America may like him a little more than he likes her, which is surprising, because I think that he should be like, oh man, this girl like gave me any bit of attention. like Cory, you're out of your league, yeah.
No, Cory seems like a lovely kid.
He is great. And super smart. Some of the stuff on the feeds when he's going through like history and facts and things, I was just like, oh man, he is very smart. And I know America is as well, which is why I think that they do gel together. And, I think he got a little like, I don't know, like a little deflated when he was like, oh, I got an Ivy Leaguer over here. He's like, wah, wah.
Yeah. I think he, I don't know. I'm curious to see what comes of Cory. As long as they're able to keep their heads in the game. That's what I need from them. I can't have them getting distracted. But I love Cory and I love America. I'm definitely rooting for them. And Cirie and Izzy and Felicia and Mecole. Those are like my top 6 favorites right now.
I will say on the thing that really surprised me this season. I thought Izzy was funny at the beginning, and then like the reaction that she had to seeing Matt and some of those kinds of things. And I was like, I don't know. I think her personality is going to be too big. And like, I think she's going to annoy people and maybe be gone early. Like I that was kind of my initial take. But let me tell you, I have really enjoyed her, and she has become more endearing. And I think it's funny to watch her intensity level because she is like, it's like the Fast and the Furious here, like 0 to 120 in no seconds flat, where she's like, you know, and she's on, and it's very entertaining. It's like, okay, oh, let's Cirie has to, and so then there's this fun thing that you're watching of Cirie, like, okay, calm it down. But Izzy really has grown on me, and I think is endearing. I like her loyalty to Cirie, and I think I find myself gravitating to house guests as I watch these seasons where there is loyalty, because this game is about so many things and so much changes from moment to moment. But when you find, and yes, you do have to at some point tear apart your alliance. That's part of the game. But I love that at this point in the game, having that loyalty and having somebody who has your back, it's crucial to getting farther in this game, because we're about to see what happens for a Cam and Red, where they are two people on an island all alone. And I think they're going to be out of this pretty quick, the both of them, just looking at it, unless some big shift happens and the target gets shifted to Cirie because this news, you know, maybe Blue breaks it that Jared and Cirie, and then they become a public enemy number one. But I think what's happening is it's Cam and Red. Anyway, to say that Izzy has grown on me. She's been one of the players that I've been most pleasantly surprised with because of her enthusiasm, her loyalty, and just like she cracks me up sometimes. It's just like, you know, just the stuff, the Izzy stuff. But
she's hilarious.
She is going to make the duo of Felicia, Izzy, and Cirie a bigger target because they do stick together an awful lot.
Yeah, I call them the three-headed hyena aunties. Felicia, Izzy, and Cirie.
Okay. The three-headed hyena
aunties.
Aunties.
No, like aunts.
Oh.
Like an aunt and an uncle, an auntie and an uncle.
Auntie. I was like, okay, that's what I was confused about. I was like, and I was like the tea, like, you know, like you're drinking tea or you were going to spill the tea. Okay. No. And they were all like spilling the tea. Okay. Like an auntie. No. I'm sorry.
They're just
Hannah,
auntie.
It's been a long day, or a year of season this week. I don't know. It's getting through me. So I like that for that trio, because I do think that loyalty that they've got and that the real friendship that they've built.
Well, spoiler alert,
it's going to be good for them.
Cirie and Izzy now want to get rid of Felicia in the next couple weeks. They want her to be one of the first in jury. And Jared's on board.
Because it will help them for jury, or what's the reasoning?
From what I have gathered, they think that Felicia has become a liability. She talks a lot. I guess she's been slipping up this week with just being a little too forthcoming with her information. And I guess she's also been like throwing Cirie's name out there a bit and hasn't told Cirie about it. So it's gotten back to Cirie.
Yeah, that's not going to go well.
So I don't know. But again, this house is so fluid and they flip flop every single hour, it seems like. So by tomorrow, it's possible that they could have completely forgotten that at some point they wanted to target Felicia in the early weeks of jury, and maybe they'll move on to somebody else. They also want to bring Cory into their core four now. So now the core four is going to be Cirie, Izzy, Jared, and Cory. They want Mecole, Matt, and Bowie to make up final 7. They want America gone at final 8. And I think they want the first 3 members of jury to be Felicia, Cam, Jag. Or sorry, Felicia, Jag, Blue.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think you want Cam and Jury, but just based on what's happened right now. And so that's why I think that when they start going, okay, if we keep Red, we give Cam and Red some numbers. It may be two, but it gives them a better shot. You know, it doubles their chance of winning HOH. You know, it's like if it's just Cam, he's on his own. You give him Red, the chances double that one of them will be there. So I could see that, and then and I do feel like. And I thought for a minute, I was like, man, Cameron's doing really great, this HOH. And then things started going sideways when he was talking about Izzy. And I saw some of the what I call the like power that goes to your head. Like, did you feel like that? Yeah. Did you feel like it happened during his HOH, or it felt more than even, I mean, it happened a little in Hisam's HOH. I don't know.
I don't know if I saw him, catch a case of HOH-itis, but it was very apparent to me that he thought he was in a much better position than he actually was. Mm-hmm. And because he wasn't aware of how in jeopardy he was, and he was so loyal to this fake Legend 25 alliance, he wasn't able to use his HOH to reintegrate himself with the house, because he just assumed, like, if I'm good with this alliance, then this alliance is good with me. We have the numbers. We have 8 people out of 13. I don't really have to worry. In fact, he threw this HOH that he was able to play in because he didn't want to increase his threat level, and felt like as long as someone from Legend 25 wins, then he's sitting pretty. Well, little did he know, every single person in the house, with the exception of Bowie Jane, was looking at throwing up Cameron and Red. So yeah, not a good read on his part. But Let's be honest, this house, not the best when it comes to reading. Well,
I think there are some people who are going to wake up in here, and I don't know if it's going to be Bowie Jane, if it's going to be figuring out what Mecole is doing here. I think more Mecole over Bowie Jane. But I will say, I think that the strategy here for someone like Mecole is to figure out what's going on, and it does take this little bit of time, and almost up to Jury, to sort of get those house dynamics really, really in play. And so I think that's what she's doing. And then she's going to go, this is where I want to align, because you do at some point have to pick, you have to pick someone to align with.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when we hit that Jury phase of the game, then things do become more solidified. And that's why we sometimes see, players turn it up or reel it back in when we do hit that Jury phase, because now they know what their niche is. Now they know what role they have to play moving forward. Whereas in the pre-Jury phase, like you said, sometimes it's just a matter of, I don't want to live with you. You're a bad roommate, so you have to go. Or like, you and I just don't get along, so I'm evicting you. Or I don't want to have to compete against you in comps, so I'm getting rid of you. So yeah, maybe Mecole will put things together, but also she's in this alliance with Felicia, Jared, and Cirie. It's called the Brown Sugar Babes, and it's all of the Black House guests this season that are left, because Kirsten was evicted the first week. And it seems like that is where Mecole's loyalty lies. So I don't know what it would take to shake that. Maybe if she hears word that Cirie does not see Mecole as being part of her end game, then Mecole will be like, okay, recalibrating, reconfiguring. But I don't know. Cirie has her hands dipped in everything.
Yes.
It's crazy to me.
But I do think there is a point where that blows up on you. And I think when some people start talking and it all comes together, everyone's going to question where her loyalty lies. And if they know her son's in this house, they all know that they are third wheel, that it's Cirie, it's Jared, and then, maybe you're third place, maybe. And so I think then it's going to be a much harder game for her and for Jared. And that's where when I start looking to that, where I go, gosh, it doesn't matter if I'm rooting for it's going to get tough. And I don't think it's too far away from that happening.
I have never complained about resistance, except for when I was playing. Then I definitely didn't want resistance. But as a viewer, I think it should make for great TV, especially with this can of crazies.
Hey, and you know what? It is great TV. It's been fun for the feeds. And it doesn't matter that it's like you can't figure out what's going on from day to day, from minute to minute, because every time you flip on the feeds, it is changing. And you and I talk, and then we're like, okay, we've got this figured out. And then tonight, 2 a.m, they're going to change everything, or 2 p.m, coming up on eviction in a couple of hours, and then they flip it while the feeds are showing cute little cats and puppies up for adoption. And then we feel like we knew what was happening from the, Wednesday night, we might watch and see the feeds and we're like, okay, it's locked in and we know how this is going to go. And then Thursday live, that's not what happens.
Well, listen, from CBS's perspective, that is a way to get people to tune into the episodes.
Yeah, it does. It works for that. So hey, this is a casting dream come true, I have to say.
I love it.
I do too. I think it's been a really strong season. And, I hope at season 25 here, looking at it, that we get more seasons, that this isn't and that's a wrap, that we see. I would even like a winter season, because I think it's still going to take some time to get shows up and moving here. Yeah. So that's what's going to happen.
Doing an all winter season, maybe bringing back, we've talked about this before, where they might bring back like 10 to 12 winners, have them in the house for 4 weeks. I see it. I see the vision. Yeah. I have my personal favorite, the person I'm rooting for.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, on a later episode. But for now, on the Secret Alliance, that's just a secret. Last thing here, because I wanted your take on it. And I know so many podcasts have delved into it and you've talked about it online. But this big endurance comp that led to Cameron's HOH win. I mean, this thing was just minutes shy of the comp that we saw, the pressure cooker 18 years earlier. And then this is an HOH that really meant nothing. I it was just sort of mind blowing when I sort of rewind back to that and where we ended up with Cameron's HOH, that nothing came of it.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
The longest Big Brother competition.
They went almost 14 hours, but just a few minutes shy of that 13 hours and whatever minutes on the previous one 18 years earlier.
I think it was just 4 minutes shy, but either way, the longest Big Brother competition in 18 years since the previous pressure cooker. And for it to have meant nothing, I would be pissed if I was Cameron. But as a super fan, I think I would have just been excited to say, like, I got to play in the pressure cooker. Who cares if it didn't culminate in anything? So yeah, I see both.
It almost was his, like, the week after that, almost, his demise in this game. I mean, he saved himself. But wow. Anything that came out of that, did you think America made a good move? Were you impressed by her as a comp beast for an endurance challenge?
Yes, absolutely. I think with a lot of Big Brother endurance comps, it's not necessarily a matter of how fast you can run, how long you can run, or any of like the physicality behind the competitions. A lot of it just comes down to your mental grit and how badly do you want it. And I think America proved, like, when push comes to shove, she is willing to compete to get what she feels is rightfully hers. So maybe America will pull out a win for the wall comp. Taylor won the wall comp last season and ended up winning the game and winning AFP. I know Derek X won the wall comp on our season, but Xavier threw it to him, so Xavier would have probably won it, and Xavier ended up winning the season.
So maybe there's something to that wall comp where it's when you get to that point in the game, it's how much do you want this, and are you willing to stay and endure?
And I think Franzel won the wall comp on season 18 and ended up winning. That could be a mistake. That could be wrong. But I do remember her doing.
Don't worry. Right here below in the comments where you like, subscribe, and comment, then of course they're going to tell us. Fact check.
Yeah.
Fact check.
So I'm hoping for an America wall comp win if she's able to last that long.
But then that's not who you're rooting for. your winner pick, or is it? I mean, you said Jag was, but that was preseason. Is that what you were saying? Okay.
Jag was my preseason winner pick, and
where's your head now?
It's not on Jag, I can tell you that, but I did bet money on Jag, so I need Jag to stay in the house. In terms of right now, I think if we were to end the game right now, Cirie would win. But like you said, we still have a lot of game left to be played. And now 2 other people are aware of Cirie and Jared's secret, so it's kind of just a matter of when that's going to be exposed. So as of right now, I'm sort of thinking that Cory could end up winning the game.
Ooh, that's an interesting name to throw out there. So his brother would have been a first out on a season of Survivor, and then he is the last man standing on Big Brother. If that all played out.
Yeah, poetic justice. Or I do think that Jared could end up being the winner of this season. I think it's going to be
Jared could win it.
Or Felicia. So those are my 3 winner picks right now. I'm pivoting away from Jag, but I love America. Love Cory.
And I've got to pay a little bit more attention to how Jared is talking to these house guests and how he's running his HOH, because that is really going to set him up for down the line what happens. But I don't know. There's something about his game where he's either talking too much or he's non-committal. And I felt like it was like, he can't pull out the win. You know, like I feel like Cirie's going to get him to the like 1 and goal. And it's like, and then he fumbles or so. I don't know. It's like, there were just a couple of moments so far, but maybe, just maybe, he needs this little bit of time to figure it out. His mom does have 4 seasons of Survivor. She's been on Traitors. She's done Snake in the Grass and this, that, and the other. So she's got this down a little bit. I mean, you're talking 6 reality shows that I can name right here, half a dozen before going on Big Brother. So maybe he needs to get his footing. It's taken him these first few weeks, and then he really will be able to hit the ground running by the time we're just a little past the 1/3 of the show mark. So there's a lot of game. Well, a lot of game left.
I think everyone likes him personally.
Okay. That's big.
I think people trust him enough. I think if Blue goes within like the next week or 2 and he sheds that liability, that will put him in an even better position. And I do think that if the secret is exposed, that he's Cirie's son, that'll ultimately bear a worse detriment on her game than it will on his. I think people will target her. They'll get rid of her. And, well, I think people might be like, he can't make it to the end because that's 1 vote that he for sure has in jury. But I don't know if they're smart enough to figure that out. I don't know.
Wow. First of all, this is the stuff that you said. That made me laugh. But also, you just said something that sort of was mind-blowing. It's like, if Cirie gets to jury and Jared ends up in the final 2, I think I would, it's like, say, Vegas odds makers, you need to, like, they're going to be calling it for Jared, because Cirie, I think, would work that jury like she's working the house right now. Yeah. If Jared's in the final 2 chairs, I think he's got it. If she's in the jury, mom in the jury, and Jared in final 2 chairs, he wins the game. But I wasn't thinking about it that way when you just said that. I was like, I don't know. I don't like some of his game stuff right now is a little sloppy. Well, that's kind of eye-opening to think about it that way.
The card at that point he would have to play is like, no, the jury's not going to vote for me because they, like, let's just say the secret has not been exposed and Cirie exposes the secret in jury, or he exposes the secret via his goodbye messages. He could be like, well, they're all going to be so mad because we were given an advantage that none of them received upon coming in the game. So they're going to be a bitter jury, and that's why you should take me to the end, because there's no way they're giving me their vote. That would be the card he would have to play, I think.
Okay.
But I don't know. I do not know how this season's going to play out. I think other seasons have been way more predictable than this one. But yeah, I'm on the edge.
I love it. It's so fun to watch. I feel like I do need to, when we get to jury, have you sort of give us the analysis, because I loved on season 24 where you were like, this person's going to go first. And it was like, I don't even know if anybody had moved into the house yet. We just saw cast members, and not for nothing, you were right on for a lot of that. It was pretty impressive to watch.
Thank you. And then, I love this game.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you have been a quick study, and it's really impressive. And that's why I love chatting with you about it, because the Jared thing right now, just like, I got to really dig in on that, because mom and the jury. And then if he's in those final two chairs, I don't see anybody he could beat in this house right now. I mean, that could beat him. I'm sorry. He beats them all, which is really interesting.
And then it kind of begs the question, is Cirie wanting to win this season, or does she just want to get to jury so she can set Jared up?
And that's, I mean, I know her as a competitor just from watching those shows. I think she wants to win it. I think she wants to have a win under her belt here on one of the, the big ones. It's like, hadn't won Survivor in 4 tries. It's like, let me walk into the Big Brother house and take it and show, what every Survivor fan has said, that's the harder show or whatever, and like, and so I think it would be huge bragging rights. I don't see her playing for second place. No way. Well, but I do think that I think she wants to make sure that Jared is set up, though. Yeah.
I don't know if she's playing for second place, but I just wonder, as a mother, does she want her son to win this season more than she wants herself? I don't know.
That is a mother's love, and that is really, really true.
Mm-hmm. I just can't even imagine.
Bringing up some good thoughts here, Hannah.
I can't imagine how different this season would be if we didn't have Cirie. Who would we be talking about? Who would be the focal point of the house? This season would be so totally different if you removed Cirie. So,
well, I think someone like a Cameron would have pulled in red. I think there would have been some likability to those two guys, and I think they would have brought in some of the younger house guests, and I think they would have been a dominant force in this house. But because the way Cirie worked it, she kept them isolated, and they never made that move in. I don't know. I think Heisem would have also done a little bit better in this game, if not gone much farther, because he would have been able to build a part of the house, and I think people would have listened to him and just said, "Okay, yeah, that's what we need to do. Let's go."
Yeah.
Yeah, it changed the dynamic, but that's what every player you hope does when they get in this game. Not everyone makes an impact on the game, but you hope that you're that type of player that comes in and you change the dynamic of that house, and you move and shift this game in your favor. And that's why I talk about Cirie so much week after week after week, and I'm going, this is amazing.
Yeah. Every BB alum who wants to play the game again, get out your notebooks, get out your laptops, get out your pens, start studying.
Do this. And some of it you can't teach. It's just who you are. And that magic that she has that draws people to her, you can't learn that. You can't fake that. That's just, I think, genuinely who she is.
Yeah, true. Very true.
All right. Well, Hannah, final thoughts here as we look to an eviction on Thursday night, and we're going to wrap this up here. Again, fact check our stuff down here.
Yeah. Please please subscribe.
I know.
Share, please comment.
There will always be something that was like, I'm pretty sure we got that. And there's no, somebody will let us know. So thank you. What do you think is going to happen Thursday night? Julie promised somebody's leaving. So we know that.
I think it's going to end up being Jag. I know you believe that it's going to be red.
I'm going to be split. I'll say red.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see who's right.
I mean, this is one of us has to be, but I don't love this. But I do love this because it means this house and this game has become unpredictable. Yes. But sometimes though, I like to feel like I know what's happening in that house, but they're not going to let us do that. These house guests aren't. And that's what makes it so good and so exciting, and why I love chatting about it. Hannah, thank you for your time tonight, and great insight as usual. I've got some Jared studying to do because I think there's something I've missed here. Yeah, we may be looking at the winner this week's HOH. Who
Again,
knows?
Taylor was HOH week 5, ended up winning the season.
Yeah.
Jared,
But we were on the Taylor bandwagon early, and we couldn't get over what was happening to her in that house, and we loved her, and we were like, wouldn't it be amazing if she could win this thing? And then she survived a week, and then this happened, and we're like, wait, this is it, maybe. So where it looked like all the odds were against her, and she turned that around and won the first time that the Big Brother prize, largest in its history at that point, at $750,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see. The next time we do this, we got to figure out who's right.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
Really? Okay. For the game, you want to be wrong. Okay. I appreciate that. I feel like though I'm like, man, I've made a bad decision going against Hannah.
We'll see. The truth will set us free.
Yep. And with this, that's it for us, guys. Thanks for watching.
Bye, guys.